Hello everyone, my name is Professor Albert Nygren. I'm the Executive Director and the Curator of the New Jersey Film Festival. We're in our 43rd year and we have such a wonderful program set up for the fall of 2024. And we've been doing this Q&A series with filmmakers, so we have a wonderful guest here today that I'll be talking to for the next 10 minutes or so. And I wanted to just let you know a little bit more about the festival. It will be taking place between September 6th and October 18th on select Friday, Saturday, and Sunday evenings. And it's also online. COVID has changed the dynamics of film festivals, and a lot of our audience is still online. So we're a hybrid film festival, and films will be available for 24 hours on their show date, and that starts at midnight and runs till 11:59 on that day. And then you can also come and see it in person if there's an in-person version. And you know, we have some crazy people that watch the film online during the day and then come in the evening to watch it again with the filmmaker present to ask them questions. So if you want more information, you go to njfilmfest.com, and I'll show you how to do that a little bit later at the end of this program. Today, we have Sean Seneviratne, who I've known for over 20 years. He was a student of mine back in the early part of the new millennium, and he's made this amazing new film called Ben and Suzanne, a reunion in 4 parts, his first feature. It was shown at South by Southwest a few months ago. Welcome, Sean, welcome.
Thank you so much, Al. It really is an absolute honor to be here with you, my old professor that taught me so much about movies.
Well, you know, you were an amazing guy 20 years ago, and I said, you know, Sean's going to be able to make films, and you did. We showed your short film, Tourists, about 6 years ago.
2015.
2015, yeah. So it was about 8 years ago. And did that serve as the genesis for the film that you made?
Yeah.
Are there a lot of connections between the two?
Oh, it's that essentially is the prologue to this movie. So prior to this, we've made actually 3 short films. So in a way, we've kind of done this before sunrise-y sort of thing a little bit. Not even intentionally. At first, I was like, all right, I want to explore these characters and do like what happens before this long distance relationship starts. And so that's how I met my actors, and that's what really was the birth of this kind of creative collaboration that we've now had for 10 years.
Yeah. You call the film a horny romance. Is that the tagline?
that's my working tagline for it.
I think it really is very catchy, and I think we're following Ben and Suzanne. Ben has been living in New York, and he's in this long distance relationship with Suzanne, and she's based in Sri Lanka. And there are 10 days where he's come to hang out with her in Sri Lanka. And there's some tension there, right? And they have to kind of get to know each other once again.
Yes.
But they have such chemistry. How did you find these 2 wonderful actors?
So for Anastasia, who plays Suzanne, I did a backstage post. So just, you know, the way I was like, all right, how do I meet these different actors? But what I did that was a little different that she really responded to is like a lot of casting posts are just like, here's the role and like a paragraph description. I did this almost like essay-like description of Suzanne, and I also linked the lookbook to the short. So she really got a sense of like the aesthetic and like where I was coming from, and she was really excited about it. When we did our audition, I was actually working. I was doing like a film summer camp program. She came in during my break. And we did the audition while I was at work. And we did it in a little bit of an untraditional way. So I didn't give her sides from the script. So she wasn't reading anything from the script. But what we did was created a situation where I was like, okay, you are meeting your friend for lunch, and you're about to go to India at the time, in the featured Sri Lanka, and I just want to know, like, what's on your mind and how are you feeling about everything? And so through that, that's actually how we kind of developed the character, and I got to see what are her instincts, what is she kind of bringing into it, and really like meeting her is what helped form Suzanne. So that's how we met Suzanne. And then for Satya, who plays Ben, I actually came across his Tumblr in 2012, and he posted like spoken word about spoken word about pizza. And I was like, okay, this guy's pretty interesting. And then he was like an Indian dude with cool hair that liked emo music. And I just had it in my mind of, all right, it's in my Rolodex of when it's time to make the movie, he's going to be the person that I reach out to.
Yeah, I think that they're so funny. And, you know, I think the interaction and the chemistry between them, because it is kind of a chamber film, we're with them the whole time. There are some ancillary characters that are also quite wonderful. And I think Mohammed as the driver is just terrific. And I mean, did you use people from Sri Lanka to be in your film as well?
Yes, everyone else that's in the movie is someone that we either met along the way in Sri Lanka or are my family members that I brought on board. So Mohammed was actually our driver for the location scout in Sri Lanka, and I wanted to cast a real driver, and he was so cool. And I just asked him, I was like, do you want to be in the movie? And he was like, yeah, 100%. And so that's kind of how it happened with everyone that's there. So like the drug dealers in the movie are my cousin and her husband. And I just asked them, and everyone in Sri Lanka that's in the movie have never been in a movie before. And this was all their first time doing it.
Was there any difficulty shooting on location? I mean, you were familiar with the location somewhat.
Somewhat. I mean, we did our location scout, but some of these things were totally new locations. And we did 40 locations in 17 days, all around the country. So, but you know, we had an amazing production company over there that took care of permits. So like we were filming at the airport and we had the full support of like the staff over there. And there wasn't any major issues with locations. That said, we were doing a lot of live location stuff where we were filming on the streets in a kind of more documentary way, and not guerrilla style, but still, you know, we were filming at the bus station, and it's quite busy and quite hectic, and we're shooting on 16 millimeter, and we have a crew of like 20 people that are over there, and you know, we did that all on day one, and so it was quite, that was quite a learning curve and challenge.
Well, I think the fact that you shot on film also gives it a certain charm. It doesn't look a lot like the other stuff that's out there.
Totally. I'm very averse to digital sharpness. And so it's actually a mix of 16 millimeter and digital, but even the digital, we found a way to treat it so it felt a little bit more like that romantic feeling of 35.
I mean, I mentioned to you before that you really like the long take. I mean, is that something that you wanted to do from the get-go?
Yeah, I mean, I love long takes, but I'm not a long take fetishist. So I don't believe in this, like I don't like the movie Birdman, for example. Like I don't believe in just the long take for the sake of it, but I love the idea of every shot is a moment, and what is the beginning of this moment to the end of this moment before we transition to a new one. So I'm always trying to think in terms of that, and always trying to be very objective with the camera. Like, where can we put the camera so we could be observational with these characters and feel like we're watching their relationship from just somewhere else in the room. So that's kind of always my thinking about it. And so, yeah, I do like the long take and the kind of Bazanian idea of like maintaining like the unity of time and space.
I definitely think that that's there. And you break the film down into 4 parts, but then it's broken down by day. And you set it between, I guess, December 21st and New Year's Eve, correct?
And New Year's Day.
And New Year's Day.
Yeah.
So were the actors there for a longer period besides the 17 days in terms of preparation?
Yeah, well, Anastasia, who plays Suzanne, went to the location scout with me in February. So it was great because then she got to feel more comfortable in Sri Lanka. We did a road trip with my family. She got to learn some of the language, how to eat with her hands, all this stuff. Whereas Satya literally got there the day before we started shooting. So he very much felt like the fish out of water, just like in the movie. So it kind of ended up working out like really, really well.
Yeah, I mean, it seems as if the differences between Suzanne and Ben were apparent because she felt more comfortable in the culture.
Yes.
And he just was not able to kind of sink in until maybe at the very end.
Even as a brown person in Sri Lanka, like feeling like always like everyone knows he's an outsider and he feels like an outsider.
Very true. So I mean, it kind of feels like a home movie. We talked about that too. And it also feels like a road trip movie kind of blended together. I wonder, were there any difficulties and challenges in creating this film? What were some, I mean, every film has, you know, headaches. So what were some of the ones you experienced?
Well, the major challenge for this was we started filming July 11th, and July 13th was the SAG strike. And so we're 2 days into shooting. We're actually getting ready to shoot at Gillian Anderson's old house from X-Files. She has a house had a house in Sri Lanka. And we're setting up over there, and then we're on the phone with our US producer, and the news is coming in. I got a leech bite on my foot, so my foot is bleeding. We're getting the news that we need to call things off or go on hiatus. And SAG was offering what are called interim agreements. So I knew we would qualify because we are a truly independent production with no ties to the major streamers and studios. But when that was going to come in, we didn't know. So there was a 1-week hiatus. And I was one day away from having to pull the plug on the whole movie because I just didn't know when we'd hear again. And we're sitting in Sri Lanka siphoning money. And then we finally got the agreement and we were ready to go. And then it was the usual production stress, but that was really scary. But I do think it benefited the film in some way because during that 1 week break, I kind of rewrote the entire script. I got really, really lean with it. I cut extraneous things and I knew that we were gonna be working on a tighter schedule, and I think it actually made the movie so much stronger. But that was like a major, I was so depressed while that was happening because I really felt like it was gonna fall apart.
It was going to fall apart.
Yeah.
I know. I'm in the middle of shooting a film now, and my biggest fear is that somebody will get COVID because there's a kind of COVID resurgence, and you're on a tight schedule, and you want to make sure that everything goes smoothly.
Yeah.
But Murphy's Law rules, right? Murphy's Law rules.
Absolutely.
Well, folks, you've got to absolutely see Sean's film. It's our festival opener, which is a very prestigious spot. It's on Friday, September 6th. It will show for 24 hours on that day. The in-person screening's at 7, and Sean will be there with maybe some of the talent, so you want to come and interact with him for sure. And it'll be a very special occasion, a kind of prodigal son coming home to Rutgers to show his movie. We're very excited about that. The program itself is $15. If you'd like to buy a festival pass, it's $120. So if you want to come to more than a half of the movies, you want to buy a festival pass. You want to get festival information, you go to njfilmfest.com. You click on current events, and then when you see the New Jersey Film Festival Fall 2024 placeholder come up, there's a red button that says tickets and info. You've got to push that button because then it'll bounce you to our Eventive web page. Eventive is our streaming provider, and we use that as the main site because when you buy a ticket, that ticket is good for the in-person screening as well as the online version. Nice. So you get a lot for your money. There's also Q&As done with the filmmakers that are made available through Zoom, and we'll be doing one with Sean and some of the actors too. So I want to thank you so much. It's nice to see you again.
Thank you so much, Al.
We look forward to showing your movie at our festival.
Awesome. Yeah, this is my honor to be talking with you and to come back to Rutgers and come back to the film festival with this movie. And I used to intern at the film festival,
yes,
and so it's really feels like a significant.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
I am most grateful we met, and glad too for the incidental torments.
You were the candle I wanted to touch.
I sent you a photo and your response was awesome, period.
No, that is the wrong tone. It was actually like, awesome.